Hi, I'm Rachel, and I'm here to do my monthly Author's Answer video. The Author's Answer series was started by author-tuber J.D. Archer. He and his writing group posed a series of questions to each other about reading and writing, and I try to answer one a month, and I will link his playlist and mine down below. I'm up to question 13, which revolves around the issue of highlighting an unknown author who you like. Well, one thing that came to mind about unknown authors is that a member of my writing group has written a political thriller, and he recently got an agent for it. But as of yet, he has yet to have a book deal and any sort of publication date, but maybe I'll be back in the future, hopefully, to give details about that. But the first person who popped into my head for this question was the author Joan Legant. Joan Legant is an author who I would describe as small fry. It's a term I've used for myself on AuthorTube and BookTube, you know, given my small little channel over here. I'm calling her that because, well, she started writing relatively late in life. She was 40. She's only published a handful of short stories and essays and one short story collection and one novel. So she's kind of approachable, I guess, in that way, except that many of her works are prize winners. You know, maybe not the humongous prizes, but any prize, anything that puts you above the herd is something of note. I'm not sure how I first came across her, but in 2010 I read her short story collection, An Hour in Paradise, and I don't necessarily remember it that well now, but I do have my Goodreads review here, where I talk about these stories about specific people, all Jews in varying states of Jewishness, and the pieces encapsulated the greater human experience, I said. And I go on to say, we are all seekers in the Holy Land, like Neil Fox. We are all accounting or struggling with accountability, like Eliot and his family. And then my favorite story, Lucky in Love, deals with secret married lovers who, after 40 years, struggle to find happiness together despite the complications of age. And then I also liked, and I think I remember this story better now, the story How to Comfort the Sick and Dying, where a former druggie, now turned Orthodox, struggles with the task of comforting another drug abuser who's on a very different path. Although, also, another one of the stories that I think has stuck with me a little bit more throughout the years is one that I don't like as much, which is Seekers in the Holy Land. It just felt rife with esoteric imagery, and I found it rather confusing. What I remember a fair bit better is her novel, which I read about a year later in 2011, and I'll just pop a picture up here, because why not? The novel is called Wherever You Go, and it's about the experiences of 3 American Jews in Israel who are on very different paths, and in the plot their storylines sort of converge a little bit. We follow the sister of a woman who turned Baal Teshuvah, which means that she was secular and has become ultra-Orthodox, and I believe lives in a settlement in the West Bank. We also follow a man who is Baal Teshuvah. He is studying, I believe, in a seminary in Jerusalem, and like the character in the other story, he has a drug history past. And then there's another character who turns to a secular form of militarism and commits the big act of violence in the story. So yeah, I don't know. It just that story really hit me at the time because I guess it spoke to these things that really intrigued me about Jewish American identity and how it coalesces in Israel, like the types of experiences you have in Israel with it. The big experiences, apparently, where big things happen. I don't know if it's actually a novel that if I read it now I'd remember and liking as much, or like it as much if I read it now. I read a lot more, quantity-wise, of books now than I did in 2011, but I think that was one of the first ones of Jewish American fiction, especially in the Israel category, that just really stuck out to me, that said that I want to read about characters who struggle with what it means to be Jewish and to be connected to Israel and to family and to ideology. So you can find links to my Goodreads reviews for both of these works down below, and I'll also link to Joan Lee Gant's website. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Keep writing, and I'll see you next time.